So let us begin officially. It is 7:38. We have spent 8 minutes out waiting for others to join us. I want to officially welcome each and every one of us. I can see Uzoma is in, Faizat is in, Gabriela is in, Merit, Mayowa. I think those are the persons that are here. Please, before I make progress, please kindly confirm that you can hear me. Gabriela, you can unmute your mic and confirm that you can hear me.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Gabriela. Thank you very much. Faizat, good evening. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Faizat. And finally, Uzoma, kindly confirm that you can hear me.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Uzoma. So all of you are welcome to our day. This is day 4 of project management. Yes, welcome. So you all remember how we take our attendance is through communication on the platform, on the chat box. When questions are asked, you give your opinion. Even if your opinion is right or is wrong, then we will learn the correct one. So far, we have been able to look at some of the planning processes. I think the last one we discussed was determine budget, and before that, we're able to also estimate costs, and we look at schedule development. We're able to see the critical parts, and we're also able to develop a float when developing our schedule. So today we're just going to go straight to managing quality, managing quality, manage quality. That's what we're going to be looking at today. And we hope to finish every of the last process involved in planning process. Yes. Plan quality. What is quality? What is quality itself? So we need a phone that can make calls, and we want the battery to last 3 days. Anytime we pick this phone, once we pick up the phone, we can make call with it, and the battery will last us 3 days. What phone will come to your mind for us to buy? Is it an iPhone 17 Pro Max, or maybe this Touchlight phone? Which one will come to your mind? Which one? Which one will come to your mind?
Torchlight.
The Touchlight, right? The Touchlight will come to your mind because we have been able to specify what we need it for. What we need it for is for you to make calls for 3 days, and for the battery to last 3 days, and for you to be able to just use it to make calls. That's just the spec. They are not asking you to take 50 megapixel picture. You understand? Why did I paint this scenario? Is for us to help us to understand what quality is. Quality is measure of how closely your product meets the requirement. The requirement is to make calls. The requirement is for it to last for 3 days. And the battery should last for 3 days. You understand? So if we buy Touchlight, what it means is that we are trying to meet up the needs of that requirement. So it is very important. Another thing for us to also consider when we are looking at the importance, some importance quality of concept is customer satisfaction. How are the clients feeling about the product they pay for? Samsung screen is a major issue in Nigeria, or maybe across the board. I can remember Adame, she's late now. I can remember her coming online some certain time back, and she was complaining that most of all the product that she owns, they are Samsung, and immediately they get damaged, the screen broke or have any crack. When you try to change it, it's as if you are buying a new Samsung phone entirely. So could this be something that Samsung needs to actually look into if they can fix it? Now that becomes something for me. So personally for me, Samsung brand is not for me because I know that gadgets can just fall off my hands. You understand? things that we hold can fall off our hands. Not to even talk of our own body. Sometimes we use our leg and kick a stone. Now, not talk of gadget that is detached from our own body. So I already know myself. And I know that if I buy a Samsung and if it falls off, what it means is that I'll have to go and change screen or probably buy a new phone. And I'm not ready for that. So other products will now come in place. Those ones that can fall and you can still pick them up and you say, we move ahead. You understand? So when it comes to the importance of quality concept, we want to look at it from customer satisfaction. Another thing we also want to make you look at when it comes to quality is fitness for use. Some of us will be opportune to get a job with big organization, maybe with the United Nations, maybe with um, Google, or maybe with Facebook and Meta or so. Now, one of the things that they do during your recruitment process is that they ask you to go and do medical fitness. You understand? They want to see whether you are fit to work. You understand? So it's a medical procedure that you undergo. You go to the hospital, you run some tests. They want to know if you are fit to work. Now, after the test, what happens is that they will now give a recommendation that, yes, so look, this person is sound in mind, this person is ready to work, this person does not have any mental issue, this person is not going to break anybody's head. You understand? This person is not going to cause nuisance. Yes, that is a standard operating procedure. You understand? So if you get a UN job, just know that you will go to the hospital and spend some money just to run all of these tests. Of course, UN is going to give you back your money immediately you have been given appointment letter. You understand? So they want to know this person go fit do work, or is he fit, or every week you go dey sick. Wey be say no go dey available for the work. You understand? So fitness to use. It's just as the same thing. You can use screwdriver to hit a nail and it will drive it, but the appropriate tool to actually use to hit a nail is hammer. You understand? So you just want to check fitness to work, fitness for use. Another thing is conformity. Yes, conformity, specifications. Remember, we say specification means requirements. You understand? You understand? Your product, even if you satisfy the customer, is the spec intact? Is also another thing you want to ask yourself. One of the things that we don't look at as a Nigerian in this country, no matter what we are buying, how many of us go back to read the manual inside our gadget, inside our electronics? Do you read the manuals? How many of us read the manuals? We hardly read the manuals. That's just the truth. We hardly read the manuals. How many of us read the manual? You can use the chat box. How many of us go back when we buy a gadget? We read the manuals or we make use of it? How many of us? Yes. Mary says she does sometimes. So it's a probability now. It's not every time, not always. You understand? And do you know the reason why you are not bothered? You're not bothered because there are other there are other things where they're more important. The spec, the touch screen they work. Oh, this phone smart, oh, things like that, how beautiful it is, and you forget to read the manual. So now, does it mean that because we don't read the manuals, then in your product you don't put the manuals? You start to after all, Nigerians say when you read manuals, just package them like that, Nigeria don't need manual, just package them. No. Conformance to requirement is very, very important. You need to put it intact. Everything must be intact, even if you feel that Nigerians do not use it. You understand? Another thing we also want to look at is quality versus grade. We must always know that quality is different from grade. You understand? I think it is one major challenge that we have in Nigeria, quality and grade. Now, let me paint a scenario. Yeah, so on a Saturday morning, Uzoma was coming to the lecture on project management. I was also coming for the same lecture. So immediately we were close to the office. Heavy rain started falling. As the rain they fall, get one supermarket where they near us. That's so we enter. As I entered the supermarket, so I bought an umbrella. The umbrella was 400 naira. Then Immaculate bought umbrella too, and our umbrella was 4,000. So we both entered the rain and we used our umbrella. On getting to the office, Immaculate body don't wait. I can't look Immaculate. Immaculate, you this rain touch you. This your umbrella where you buy safe. How much you buy and say 4,000? Immaculate now ask me how much you buy your own. I say 400 naira. And I tease Immaculate. This your umbrella where you buy. This your umbrella where you buy safe. And this my own. Which one be quality one? So which one is quality one among the two? Which one is quality one? Is it the 400 naira one or the 4,000 naira one? Which one is quality one? Use the chat box, please. Which one is the quality one? Yes. Which one is quality one? Is it Immaculate's own that she bought for 4,000 or my own that I bought for 400? Which one is the quality one? The one of 400. Why? Why is it the one of 400? Why is it the one? The simple answer is that I bought it so that it can do what? So that it can prevent rain from getting to me. You understand? So if you want to put it, I bought the quality umbrella, Immaculate bought the grade. Maybe as Immaculate, we they look the umbrella, they write one sweet name. Maybe they put Nike. It's a Nike umbrella. Maybe they put Corolla, or maybe they put Samsung, or maybe they put a Techno. And she say, no, this one will be quality one. That's great. You understand? So we must learn to differentiate quality from grade. Quality means that you bought something, what you intended to do, you did it. High grade is typically costs. It will cost you more. You will pay more for it. You understand? So myself and Gabriela, we have been invited to the presidency. In fact, there is this stakeholders meeting that is going on, and they asked us to come. And they gave us a dress code, and they said black suit, one button shirt, not 3-piece, so just black suit, black shoe, and that's all. You understand? So I went to Wurukum Market, and I see those people where they do bend down select. You know where that place where there's usually dust now, very heavy dust. That's why I go there. I bend down. I buy the black suit, one button. That's why as I knock the suit like this, dust come out, serious dust. That is it has inhaled. You understand? And I went to my wash it and iron it, and I said, yes, I am ready for this presidency event. I'm ready to move to Abuja now. The same thing, Gabriela went to international markets, went to one of the best boutique. In fact, as she entered, those boutique people, they're under blue lights. So the thing they shine. When Gabriela touched the suit, they say, yes, na Italia. When she check, oh yes, quality one. That's great. Serious one. I bring the suit out. How much is the suit? I told them, Gabriela, oh, this suit is 500K. Mind you, the one I bought in Uruku roundabout, I bought it for 12,000. You understand? So, but when she was buying it, she now bought 2 buttons. The suit now has 2 buttons. You understand? When she buy and say, somebody can tell her and say, this suit, they tell you to make you buy one button. Say no worry. They will understand. When they see the suit, they see in Italia. Dons and Bangbana. They will accept them and all of that. Then we got to presidency. As they see me, yes, So correct, this guy, he put on the dress code. They allow me to enter. Gabriela, this is your suit. It's too button, I say, no, you cannot. Then Gabriela begin to argue. Can't you see this? This is Doors and Bagbana. This is an Italian suit. Can't you see it? Do you think this is cheap? I say, no. I say, no. You cannot come in. So the program can't finish. I can't come outside. I can't meet Gabriela. Gabriela, now outside you there, I was not teasing her. Gabriela, so you there outside? Why you no enter now? You say, can you imagine this bouncer? They tell me, say, my suit is too button. I can't look at that. So this is your suit, say, you buy for modern market. And this is my own one I buy from Europe. Which one be quality one, sir? Which one be quality one? This is the chat box. Which one be quality one? Which one be quality one? Which one is the quality one? Is it Gabriela's suit or my suit? Which one is the quality one? Gabriela's own, Abi. Yes. I just know that you don't just want to agree. I understand. Your suit is actually of high quality, high grade. You understand? But we must also remember that it must meet the need. When I usually give this example in classes, some people will say, if na maybe Gabriela will cut one button commot, and we all laugh about it and all of that. So what's the essence of this whole um analogy I'm giving is for us to understand what quality and grade is. You understand? Both of them are not the same thing. So the next thing for us to also do is for us to plan a resource management. I think we spoke about this last week, plan resource management, where we were able to assign activities, we were able to know who supervise who and all of that. I think we're also able to look at estimate activity resources, how we can share the resources across all our projects using analogous method of estimating and all of that. So we're able to look at that. Then the next one we are unable to look at is for us to plan communication management. Hey, if you want your project to go very well, if you want your project to succeed, if you want your project to be successful, communicate. Please, I beg you, no matter how much you make tomorrow, no matter where you find yourself tomorrow, please do not stop communicating with those people who were there when things were not rosy. Please. When things be they go well, you see those people who they follow communicate. No, ignore them. You understand? I will always say it. Most projects that failed is lack of communication. You understand? It's lack of communication. For me, I recently ended a 5-year loyalty relationship. And the reason why I ended it is because of gap in communication. You understand? Communication became one-sided and it was beginning to paint a wrong image. You understand? So please carry your stakeholder all through. It is very important. Communicate everything, the bad, the ugly, especially your sponsor. You understand? Your sponsor may be your number one fan. Carry them all along. Now, how do you plan communication? You use the techniques. Yes, use the techniques. You do analysis on the type of communication that fits the stakeholders. Then you know the medium in which you are going to communicate. You understand? That's using communication technology. You're also going to check the communication method you are going to use, either the push or the pull or the interactive. You understand? And of course, you're also going to look at some interpersonal skills and team skills that you can use. You understand? Communication style assessment. How do you communicate with your team to get an assessment done? You must also be a project manager that is politically aware. When we say politically aware, we're not talking about APC, PDP, ADC. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you knowing the person who calls the shots, knowing the person who, if in talk like this, bam, the thing will stay. You understand? That's you. That's you using your interpersonal skill. Remember, you are dealing with stakeholders and you are planning communication. You need to carry them along. You understand? You also need to know their background. Where are they coming from? Cultural awareness. Is this person a Muslim? Is he a Christian? Aha. I do not want to do something that would trigger some stakeholders. You understand? Another way for you to be able to do this is expert judgment. When you try to find out what each stakeholders like and what they don't like. Basically, what are their expectations? That's just it. Then use this method to plan your communication. Very, very important. You understand? There's what we call the handshake formula. Yes, if you have 10 stakeholders in your project, if you have 10 stakeholders in your project, the handshake formula, as you can see on your screen, is n open bracket n minus 1 close bracket all over 2. You understand? So n represents stakeholders. So when you have 10 stakeholders, multiply by 10 minus 1, divide by 2, you are going to have 45 potential communication channel, meaning your communication channel will be in 45 places. You understand? So when you use the handshake formula and all of that, you can go and maybe Google it later to see how the handshake formula works and all of that. Then communication method, the echo, the decode and echo, how it goes, the medium, the sender, the receiver. I think these are things we actually have done in a basic communication skill before now. You understand? Then the next process we want to look at is risk. Yes. How do you plan risk management? How do you plan risk? Yes. How do you plan risk management? To do this effectively, you need to create a risk management plan that can cover some key areas. You understand? Methodology, you want to define the specific tools and data source that you will use. Maybe you want to use some digital software or maybe a simple Excel and all of that. You also want to find out who is the risk owner, roles and responsibility, who is in charge. Remember that we made mention of a responsibility metrics table where we're looking for who Tolani is, who Tola is, who Bello is, and who Sarah is. You understand? So you want to find out who is a risk owner. In finding out who is a risk owner, who is responsible for budgeting? Excuse me. Who is responsible for budgeting? Who is allocating funds for the risk management activities, contingency reserve, and all of that? Who is monitoring timing? You understand? Who is planning for risk when it comes to timing? You want to define when and how often you want to do a risk assessment. And maybe like every Monday you want to check to get risks for this project. So you just simply check and all of that. You also want to categorize your risk, what we call the RBS, create risk breakdown structure. This will help you to look at risk in a bracket form. Yes, and we also want to consider the probability. Probability of risk happening will either be high, will either be medium, will either be low. You understand? So we want to always consider this. Now let me ask us this question. In terms of responsibility and support, getting married to first daughter of the family or getting married to the last daughter of the family, which one has high risk? Which one has high risk? Make I marry first daughter of the family or make I marry the last born? Which one get high risk? And maybe the guys that are in the house can help us. When you look at your slide, Mary say first daughter, high risk. Yes, tell us, why do you think first daughter is high risk? First daughter. So we're looking at a scenario. Yes, marrying the first daughter of a family or marrying the last daughter of a family. Which one get high risk? Which one get high risk? Which one get low risk? So many expectations. Thank you very much. Yes, so many expectations. The guys in the house, how far? I mean, whenever they think of marriage. I mean, I don't know the one I want to do. Some of us want to become reverend fathers. As for me, I want to marry a very beautiful wife. Yes, I want to marry a very beautiful wife. Yes, and I want to adore her every day by day. Marriage is a very beautiful thing. For me, it is sweet. Yes. Guys in the house, Ole Lawan. Ole Lawan. Okay, I'm taking attendance, so I'm taking attendance like this. Okay, so we have a table before us. So just quickly use the chat box when we are looking at the scenario. So the scenario is here. We have the probability, how likely is the extra burden. We have the impact, how much will it affect your project budget time. Then we have the risk call. You understand? We want to be able to see how the risk is. So marrying the first daughter of a family, um, how likely is it to be an extra burden? Is it going to be high, medium, or low? How likely is it to be an extra burden? Is it going to be high, medium, or low? Use the chat box. Yes, we are plotting for marrying the first daughter now. How is it going to be? It's going to be high. Let me use the pen. Okay, marrying the first daughter is going to be high. That's what you people mark. Yes. So now let's go to the impact. How much will it affect the projects? You understand? When marrying first daughter, yes. How much will it affect? Is it going to be critical? Is it going to be moderate? Or is it going to be low? Is it going to be critical? Is it going to be moderate? Or is it going to be low? How impactful will it be? Is it going to have an impact? It's going to be critical, critical, critical. Okay, so we are marking critical now. So people are saying it's going to be critical. So what is the risk involved? When you marry a first daughter, the probability how likely is going to be an extra burden, we say it is high. What impact is it going to make? So it's going to make a critical impact. So the risk involved, is it going to be high? Is it going to be medium? Or is it going to be low? Is it going to be high? Is it going to be medium? Is it going to be low? Is it going to be high? Is it going to be medium? Is it going to be low? It's going to be high. It's going to be high. Okay. It's going to be high. Beautiful. So we have been able to do justice to the risk assessment metrics for first daughter. Now let's go to marrying the last daughter of the family. Marrying the last daughter of the family. How likely is the burden going to be? Is it going to be high, medium, or low? Last daughter of the family. In this case, all these daughters where this family they don't marry. So when the gown they available, even if the girl says she don't want to use the same wedding gown, the venue where they used before, maybe they spent 200K that time. So somebody else can volunteer to pay for the 200K. The rest of the family can say, see, groom, no worry. The family is going to take care of all of the food, so you are covered and all of that. Okay, I've gotten low. It's going to be low. Burden is going to be low. Yes, because the girl now has other ones who are married. She's not even going to have so much to worry about because her other sisters will be coming through for her. Now, how impactful is it going to be? Is the whole thing going to be critical, moderate, or low? Yes. Is it going to be critical, moderate, or low? Yes, I've got a response. It's going to be low. Yes, because the time that the groom and the bride will spend, maybe minimal. Somebody don't already do the wedding before. They tell us, no worry. See where you go buy suit. You understand? See where you go buy suit. Yes, I may also agree that it will be moderate or depending. But in the case scenario we are looking at it, it's not going to be a much of a burden. You understand? On especially when she has other siblings who have married and they could actually provide maternity. So moderate could also come in. Yes, moderate could also come in because she may actually be the last daughter, and maybe she may be the only girl, and she's the last. She's the last child, and she's a daughter, and all of that. The brothers may not be able to actually understand her, and you understand more. Unlike if she has an elder sister, so it could also be moderate and all of that. Then when it comes to the risk, yes, Risk of marrying the last daughter. What's the risk score? Is it going to be high, going to be low, going to be medium? Yes. So now there's a confusion here. When it came to the risk score, we all choose high for the daughter. Eh. Now, when it comes to risk score for marrying the last daughter, what's the risk involved? Is still low. So the risk involved is low. The wife for the first daughter is high. So did you see how we're able to do justice to carrying out risk assessment? So it is the same thing in your project. What we just did now was for us to actually do analysis. That's what we did. So in your project, please, you want to put this into consideration and all of that when you are analyzing risk. You understand? So that's how we go about analyzing risks, making use of data. Then after we have been able to analyze, we have been able to see the risk. What we need to do is for us to now identify risks. So if we are building a skyscraper, for example, what are the risks we need to anticipate if we are building a skyscraper? What are the risks we need to anticipate? We are building a skyscraper. What are the risks we need to anticipate? What risk are we anticipating for building a skyscraper? Yes. The risk we want to anticipate is that when you build skyscraper, somebody will fall off, right? Remember, say, yes, thank you very much, Gabriela. Remember, say, you have risk experts. Now, in your project, when you have seen a project, you want to call risk expert. How far? Come and help me check this project. What will be the risk where you say they involve and all of that? Then the risk expert will be able to come out and tell you, okay, I think you have a risk here. And when you do that, because they are risk expert, they'll be able to call out all of the risks that you will likely encounter in your project. What is a risk? A risk is any uncertain event or condition that might affect your project. If somebody fall off from your skyscraper, yes, in as much as we know that work will continue, but the whole of that day, every person will be sober, they will not feed themselves, they will be tense and all of that. You get? And irrespective, even if you want to delay for one day, even if you say you want to do 1 minute silent, 1 minute is gone out of the project and it has affected your project. You understand? So it is very, very important that we look at it. Now, we must not always look at risk from a negative aspect. Risks are not always negative. There are positive risks. Imagine you want to build a 6-story building and the granite you are going to use to carry out that 6-story buildings, you are going to need 30,000 tons of granite. And when you go to site, you see, say, serious rock there for there. What do? You call your risk experts, and they tell you, say, this rock way there, you can actually blast it, break it into smaller pieces, and it can give you 60,000 tons of granite. That's a positive risk because you are going to be saving yourself cost from buying those 30 tons of granite. You understand? So all risks are not always negative. So when you see a positive risk, but it can still be when you see a positive risk, you will see that yes, it might affect the schedule, but it will also save you. It will give you some competitive advantage and all of that. So when you identify risk, you want to use all of these partial lists to do your critical thinking analysis and all of that. And of course, the techniques you want to use is brainstorming, checklist. You want to do interview, assumption and constraint analysis, SWOT analysis. Yes, the strength, weakness, and all of that. Document analysis and expert judgment and all. So this is how you go about when you have identified it, you begin to look at it one after the other. You understand? When looking for risk, one of the critical things you need to look for is, remember we talk about the critical part. The critical part is always at risk. Yes, a part that has no float is a risk. You get? And so many of us who were here during our class, we already understand what the critical part is. You understand? So critical part without float is a risk because they tell you, say, if you start your project today, you must finish by tomorrow. When that happens, what it means is that you have a very rigid schedule. You understand? Then finally, okay, I think before that, we want to also look at perform qualitative and quantitative risk analysis. Now, in our marriage risk example that we just did, qualitative analysis told us that the first daughter is high risk. That's what qualitative analysis told us, that the first daughter is high risk. But when we are doing analysis, when it comes to quantitative risk analysis, is when we actually sit down and we calculate to realize how much is even going to be school fees. You understand? Let's say we marry the first daughter and the first daughter never finished school, and we say we want to train them in school. Yes. Now, what to sit down and calculate how much I will even pay for this girl's school fees. Or no, let's not even take it too far. So, want to marry the first daughter, meaning that the first daughter will bear more responsibility for the marriage right and all of that. So, how much will actually be when we will spend as the first daughter from our pockets? That's what quantitative analysis is. Why qualitative is only telling, okay, we don't do the analysis. So, marrying first daughter is high risk. That I will leave it there. If we leave it there, what we have done is qualitative analysis. But what we do quantitative analysis is for us to now find out. And we are saying marrying first daughter is high. The risk is high. If I marry first daughter, say, how much I go spend? So when you sit down and begin to calculate, that's what we call quantitative analysis. You are trying to quantify. You understand? I'm sure we get it. So that's what it is. And all. So that's just a simple example. So what are the techniques you need to carry out qualitative and quantitative analysis, risk data and quality assessment, risk probability and impact assessment, just like what we did in the risk assessment metrics table? Then of course, you want to ask people who have done marriage before so that they can give you a breakdown of what the impact is going to be, and you also want to categorize. Now that you have been able to know all your risks, now you want to plan how you are going to respond to those risks. It's very important to know how you are going to respond to those risks. Now, how are you going to respond to those risks? You understand? The techniques you are going to use is to avoid. I'm a while day, make we leave on. That's the approach. You can use that. A negative risk strategy. You understand? You can use that. Risk response strategies, negative risk strategies for positive risk, contingent response strategy, and all of that. But avoid. I beg wala dey mo leave am. Transfer. This wala wey dey here, make we carry and give another person. I don't get strength, I beg. Mitigate. Okay, this wala wey we dey see. We not go fit finish am, but we'll try reduce am. And let's see what we can do. You understand? Let's see what we can do. Accept. Okay, this wala on our own. We go carry am. You understand? We'll carry. After all, the Bible says each and everybody will carry his own load. So this one and our wala will carry am. That's accepting the risk that you have seen, which is the negative risk. Then, of course, we can use all of these response strategies. Then, finally, is for us to plan procurement management. Now you know all of the risk, and one of your risk response is to plan procurement. What this means is that you don't identify some of the risk waiting for your project. Risk expert has told you that these are the risks you are anticipating. And because you don't want to put yourself in, you decided to bring in a third party, which is what we call planning of procurement, bringing a third party for them to come and take charge. Yes. We know say all of the work for our project, only us know go fit do. That's just the truth. All the work for our project, only us know go fit do. So what do we need to do? We need to conduct procurement. Yes, we bring in third party so that they can come and manage some part of it. So we'll go ahead and plan it. How do we plan to put them in? Yes, we want to prepare a document we call statement of work, SOW. Or we want to also prepare a statement, a document we call terms of reference. Yes, So when we do these two, this is one of the two we want to use for us to plan our procurement. So that when they come in, they know the works they are coming to do. And finally, plan stakeholders engagement, which is the 24th process, plan stakeholders engagement. Hey, plan stakeholders engagement is all about communication. That's just the truth. It's all about communication. If you ask me how you want to run your project smoothly with stakeholders, engagement, and all of that, is for you to just understand your stakeholders' needs. That's all. Just understand your stakeholders' needs. When you do that, your plan will be very simple. Before you know, everything will run smoothly. You understand? So, do we have any question in planning so that before we can enter into execution? Any question in planning? So far, any question in planning? Do you have any question in planning? So far, any question in planning? Use the chat box. Any question in planning?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah.
I did not catch up with the when they started to, so actually lost. I'm just following like a blind man. Can I just have a recap of the initial?
Okay, so the class it was actually being recorded, and you could also actually catch up with it maybe when we publish the recordings. Yes, we are way behind schedule, and that's why we scheduled a class for Thursday night so that we'll be able to finish up by Saturday. You understand? So if we go back now, we'll not be able to meet up with our schedule. Remember, this is one of the risks that we have identified, and this is one of the ways we are responding to it. You understand? In using the terms we just explained, identify risk and then plan your risk responses and all of that. So the recording will be made available so that you'll be able to catch up from the beginning. Is that okay?
Okay, okay.
So, is there any question as relating to the planning we have discussed? Yes. All right, let me ask question now since I no get question. How many processes did we discuss in project planning? How many processes did we discuss? 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 Let me look for execution. How many processes? Only 3 persons responded. Only 3 persons responded. Okay. Only 3 persons responded. The rest of us we're not there here. Faith, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Mm. Welcome. Yes, so 24 processes.
Sorry for
Thank you very
joining
much.
the show.
Yes, yes, I understand. Uh, 24 processes, that's what we discussed. So, how many processes did we discuss before we discuss the 24 processes? How many processes did we discuss? So, let me publish the execution manual on the group. How many processes did we discuss before the 24 processes? How many processes did we discuss? How many processes did we discuss before we started planning? Okay. Okay. There's fire on the mountain. Oh. Hey. So the process we'll first discuss before we enter planning, we don't forget. We've forgotten. We've forgotten. Okay, only one person responded. Only one person responded. So I've just published. Let me publish in the other group. So we'll be looking at execution now. Yes, we'll be looking at execution now. Looking at execution. That's what we'll be looking at now. We're looking at execution. Please, how many processes are we going to discuss in execution? How many processes are we going to discuss in execution? So that we can be familiar with it when we are done. How many processes are we going to be discussing in execution? Processes. Just a moment, I'm trying to share my screen. Yes. Right. Yeah, let me share my screen now so that we can start execution. So I'll try to see that I finish the execution because what we are looking at on Saturday, yes, we are going to be looking at some calculations on Saturday. So I want us to take our time. Yes, because there is a classwork on that. That is classwork 3. If you have not submitted your classwork 1 and 2, ensure to do that. Yes, so there will be classwork 3. Just a moment, I'm trying to share my screen. Open is hanging. All right. Hello, system. So I'm going to try and see how I can use 30 minutes so that by 9 we can stop. So if you have your manual already, let's just be going through it till I'm able to share my screen so that we don't waste much time. Yes, so please open your manual. Open your manual. Yes. So there's a first question there that we are going to be reviewing. We want to see what we have been looking at so far. This is a PMP exam sample question. Yes, a PMP exam sample question. The question says, the project aims to investigate the feasibility of constructing a hydroelectric dam from a technical, economical, and social point of view. The project charter created by the project manager on behalf of the project sponsor is now approved. Which of the following process should be performed next? Choose the best answer. A, develop a project management plan. Identify risk, identify stakeholders, develop project charter. So which one is the next process that should be performed? Which one is the next process that should be performed? Which one is the next process that should be performed? Which one is the next process that should be performed? Okay, finally, I'm able to share my screen. Yes. Develop project management plan. Okay. That's from Felicia. Felicia said develop project management plan. More answers, more answers. Are we sleeping? More answers. Which one should be performed next? Which one should be performed next? Are we seeing the question? Do we understand the question? Why is that saying develop a project management plan? Yeah. Okay. All right. Gabriela is saying develop a project management plan. Rebecca is saying identify stakeholders. All right, so we have gotten just 1, 2, 3, 4 responses. So those are the 4 people in class. Okay, 5 now, merit. Yes, we must be able to get this question correctly. Yes. Ebika seems to be alone. Maculatu is choosing develop project management plan. Okay, Zachariah is also saying develop project management plan. Okay, let me ask us this question. After developing a project charter, what do you do next? After developing a project charter, what do you do next? After you develop a project charter, in our initiation, we discussed 2 processes. After you develop a project charter, what do you do next?
We identify the stakeholders.
So we identify stakeholders. So why are we now saying we want to develop project management plan? So why are we saying we want to develop a project management plan? Okay, Immaculate is saying the answer is B. She has moved from A to B. Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Ebika Endurance. She sent in the correct answer on the first trial, and I think that was the only trial. The truth remains that after we have developed a project charter, we need to identify stakeholders, because stakeholders will now help us to develop project management plan. You understand? We say those stakeholders, some of them have been on this project before now, so they know what you want to do. So, and we have said use expert judgment. In every of the processes, there is almost expert judgment on it. Do we get it? Yes. Do we understand it?
Yes, I even wanted to put the see, I now put B again. God, I beg you. Sorry.
So you need to be very careful when you are making your choices. So thank you very much, everyone who responded. I just hope we get the point. Let's just quickly move ahead. When we have done planning, when your project plan is ready, execution begin. You understand? You are good to go in terms of execution in your project. If there are issues coming up, they will unfold themselves in your execution processes. You understand? And as they unfold themselves, you begin to deal with them. Now, these are the 10 processes involved in carrying out execution work. These are the 10 processes involved. 10 things that we must do. Take note. The 10 things, the 10 processes that we must carry out for our work to run smoothly. The first one is for us to direct and manage project work. The main question is, what really happens during execution? What really happens during execution? What happens during execution is that work will begin to go on. And when work is going on, you need to direct and manage the project work. And direct and manage project work means that you are supervising. You are supervising, ensuring that your team members are not deviating from the plan. Very, very important. And what will help you to know if your team members are not deviating from the plan, if you are carrying out your execution properly, these are the activities that you are going to perform. You can go through them at your own leisure. 1 to 12 of them. Now, things will happen on your projects, things you didn't anticipate. As execution is going on, you begin to see things that will begin to unfold themselves. You understand? Once they unfold themselves, it does not mean that project will stop. No. There are actually routes that you can follow to ensure that your project is still ongoing while there are new challenges or there are new things that are unfolding themselves. Now, when you begin to see things that are unfolding themselves, there are ways you respond to them. But there are 3 things that will make things to change in your project. One of them is corrective action. Yes, it could be because you have seen things in the project plan that is not workable. So what you need to do is to make correction. That's the corrective action. It could also be that as I'm doing my work on the project, I'm also forecasting. And as I'm forecasting, it's telling me that, oh, look, if you continue this way, you get as it will be. You understand? So you prevent it. Then the third one is that we can make mistake. Yes. Because we are human beings, all of us make mistake. Maybe so. Once you make, like today now, I made a mistake. I was coming back from one day because I went to visit the core members who are presently in camp. And as I was coming back, our roll-up banner, I forgot it inside the vehicle I entered. I tried to get back the vehicle, but I couldn't. Because I had this class, so I couldn't even spend much time looking for the vehicle. But maybe tomorrow I'll start looking for it. So those are part of what will happen, you understand, in your project. So now I'm also bearing additional costs to go and look for the driver. And the driver is not as if the driver was from Benue Links that I can easily go back in, maybe we'll drop it. It was just a roadside vehicle and all of that. So that makes it even more, put it in a very higher risk and all of that. You get. So when you begin to see things like that, defect and repair, when you make mistake, why not? You just want to correct it. Sometimes the correction may just be minor, so there is no need for you to write to your sponsor. Just go ahead and carry out those corrections. In as much as it does not affect these 3 areas, your schedule, your scope of work, and the budget. I hope you get that. So of course, what we need to put in place when we are directing and managing project work is what you are seeing on your screen. Then you can use the techniques, which is the expert judgment, project management information, and of course, meetings. Meetings are very important when we are carrying out the execution process because meetings give us an overview of what is going on our project. And when you attend meetings, you begin to see challenges of each and every one of your team members, and you can begin to provide solutions to them. At the end of the day, what are you going to have? Deliverables. Deliverable means the outcome, the result one I don't get. You also be able to generate work performance data. Issues that have come up, you have an issue log. Of course, you must have written to the sponsor that you need some changes to be made. Then, of course, you go ahead and the project management plan will be updated. Let's say, for example, in your project, you discover 1 or 2 things that needs to be changed. And your project budget is 5 million. Now, when you wrote that change, you said they should add additional 2 million naira for you. And that change was approved. So your budget will no longer read 5 million, your budget will read 7 million. But if you check your project management document, what does it say? How much will be there? How much will be written there? Your project management document. How much will be on that document?
5 million.
5 million. So you need to actually update it. So you need to update it to 7 million. You understand? The next thing you want to look at when you're executing project is for you to manage project knowledge. Manage project knowledge means that you need information to get things right. Some of the informations you need, they are documented. You have it documented in your project management plan. And some of them you don't have it. So you need to start meeting people, and that's where you begin to consult, find out from organization, maybe the people you are looking for, they're inside the organization, they're outside the organization. You begin to find out. You understand? When you do this, you are trying to get knowledge on how you can manage your project knowledge. You understand? And in managing project knowledge, one of the tools we want to take advantage of is, we made mention of expert judgment. Expert judgment is also in the electronics we buy. Those manuals we see inside. We want to actually look at it because it can be our project knowledge. When you look at the manual, you'll be able to know how you need to fix some things. You understand? Very, very important. Then how do you go about manage project knowledge? These are the information that you need, the input. And of course, the tools and techniques that you need are expert judgments. You understand? Knowledge management also. Both of them can go one hand in hand and all of that. And we made mention of interpersonal skill and team skill. You understand? As a project manager, please, you need to pay attention. You need to be an active listener. You need to be what? An active listener. You need to pay attention to your team members. Listen to them so that you can know where their worry is coming from. You need to be an active listener. You also need to have the ability to facilitate discussion. Because every now and then, as a project manager, you'll be going for meeting here and there, explaining what is going on in the project and all of that. You understand? So you need to know how to facilitate. All of this comes with leadership. You need to know how to lead. And in fact, that's the major goal of Leveler. Your ability to lead, because this is a leadership skill. This is a leadership training that you're actually going on, and that you're actually undertaking. Another one is networking. Please, don't sit in a flight, don't sit in a bus, don't go places without you not knowing who is seated close to you. You understand? Try to get to know them. Network. You never can tell where you meet people. You understand? Network. Try to meet people. Know the person you are sitting. Don't sit in a flight 3 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours, and the person sitting next to you, you don't even know who the person is. Please network. It is very, very important. And like I rightly mentioned, political awareness is also another thing. You understand? When you find yourself in a diverse environment, you want to be able to understand the stakeholders. You want to be able to know where they actually belong, so that you'll be able to manage them closely and all of that. Then, of course, at the end of the day, these are what you are going to be having. Then the next thing we want to do in execution, through execution process, that's when we acquire resources. We acquire resources. What did we say are resources? Please use the chat box. What did we say are resources? What did we say are resources? We made mention of 3 things that are resources. What did we say are resources? Good. Labor material and equipment. Yes, those are resources. Thank you very much. So at the point of execution, you need to go and acquire all of those things. So the labor, the material, the equipment, go and acquire it. That's what it means. And this is how you are going to, the information you are going to need in acquiring it. At the end of the day, these are the tools and techniques you are going to use in acquiring your your resources. You are going to be making some decision with the MD, the CEO. You guys are going to be coming up and be talking about who is going to be available, who is not going to be available, and all of that. And we also need you to use multi-criteria decision analysis to check who will be available, who no go dey available, who go fit really make impact for this project, who no go fit make impact, and all of that. Another interpersonal skill that you need to bring in is your negotiation skill. This one we need to go and learn it from our mothers because they know how to price very well. The seller may tell our mother that this thing is 5,000 and our mother can price it for 500 naira. It's a negotiation skill. Organizations are looking for people who can negotiate. Pre-assignment, it means that we have Immaculate in a project. Immaculate is our accountant. Immaculate is in project A, and we have another project B and another project C. I'm a project manager for project B. Mayowa is a project manager for project C. And we needed Immaculate to be in the 3 projects because we're trying to save costs. What that means is that we are going to do what we call resource calendar. That resource calendar will tell us when Immaculate is going to be available for project B, when it's also going to be available for project C. Then we have a pre-assignment. Yes, we might get information like this from the sponsor. The sponsor is telling us that, Endurance, in this your project that you are going to carry out, I have some team members. I know you said you need 10 team members as a resource in this project. Yes, I have 3 guys who are going to be working with you. So those 3 guys, please take them and add it to your team of labor in terms of resource and all of that. When you hear a statement like that, know that some of your team members have been pre-assigned. You understand? They are going to work the project for you. Remember that as a project manager, you have the opportunity to pick your team members. It is very, very, very important. And when it comes to people, please, when it comes to the human capacity of resources, please, these are one of the things you need to consider. You need to consider attitude. Can this person work? It's very, very important. Attitude, you understand? Attitude. As a project manager, you want to negotiate the right kind of people for your project. You get it. You want people who can work, who can be a team collab. You understand? So when you do that, you'll be able to execute your project successfully in acquiring your resources. When you do this in acquiring resources. Virtual team, yes, you can also have your team virtually, like this class that's ongoing is virtual, and we have each and every one of you in this class. And you can also have virtual teams scattered all around, and your work can still go on. You understand? So your team may not be physically available for you, but of course, you can still use them to deliver your project. So when it comes to acquiring resources, the physical resources will always be assigned to activities like I rightly mentioned. Then another thing you need to do in execution is for you to develop your team. It's very, very important for you to develop team, because these are the people that are going to be working with you. Now, in developing team, you must have something in mind, that some of your team members may be lacking in some skills and competence. So you need to give them room for learning. You need to give them atmosphere for them to be able to develop. Because part of your execution work is for you to develop team. What does it mean for you to develop team? It's for you to give them an opportunity for them to enhance their capability. You understand? One thing you must also always know is that team members have a way of learning from each other. Now, when it comes to team development, this is how your team is going to go. The first stage is forming. The next stage is storming. The third stage is norming, performing, and adjourning. In forming, they are excited. They are usually happy. Oh, why are they excited? They are excited simply because, okay, they are in this project because they know say small money go dey. Small money will come out from this project too. So no wahala. Then the next stage is storming. They will begin to antagonize themselves. They will begin to say, no, this person will do this project now, he go alter my plans, he go alter my arrangement and all of that. But when they go for meeting, you will see one person will be shutting the other person up. Hey, sit down there. You don't know what you are talking about. The other one will not want to agree to you to sit down. I've had situations like that in a project we did, Galaxy Backbone, I think 2022. Yes, our work was for us to do interior finishing. Yes, the tiling, the painting, and the ceiling. Yes, that was our work. And when we're doing this work, the project manager, who happens to be a civil engineer coming from the engineering background, because my boss was an architect, then the project manager was coming from engineering background. And one of the things that caused chaos is that since we are doing finishing internally, what it means is that the civil work has been done and there were some errors. My boss is the kind of person that he likes to correct errors. He wants his work to be so neat and clean and all of that. You understand? And in the case of the project manager, he says, we have already seen this error. Let's try and see how we can manage it. So two of them were clash. I'm not smart, They were shutting themselves. Architect say, engineer Yusuf, if you come to the site where I supervise, where I work, you will not talk. You will not open your mouth and talk. Engineer Yusuf said, Toye, forget this thing you are saying. You cannot bring everything. You want to bring the whole building down because you want to correct. Or you bring the whole building down and so that you can start building it from scratch and all of that. That's antagonistic behavior that was going on, of course. But after sometimes they become they move to norming stage. It's not as if that antagonistic behavior has gone. No, it hasn't gone at all. But they were beginning to understand. And when you are developing team, the next thing that happens after norming is performing. And the team members now understand that, okay, I think all of us did for this project for the same aim and for the same reason. Maybe we just continue the project. You understand? We'll just try putting for performance and all of that. Then, of course, the project will come to an end, or what we call a journey. And some of the people who were recruited simply for that project, that's when they would leave the project and when the project comes to an end. Now, as a project manager, you must pay attention to the psychological needs, physiological need of your team members. And this is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And you will remember what Maslow hierarchy of needs says. It says that people have needs, not until the lower ones are satisfied, they won't begin to think of the higher ones. So think of it. What can you do to actually help your team members to see that they are highly productive? You just want to check where they are in this table and see how you can provide an assistant. And in providing an assistant, we have some theory, hygiene theory. Hygiene theory is saying that, look, if you want to motivate your team members, you need to provide some kind of things. You understand? Just imagine that you want to take this training now and you don't have phone. You will not be motivated to be in this phone. So what it means is that hygiene theory is saying, look, provide something to motivate your team members to work. McGregor's theory of X and Y is saying that X manager believes that every of your team member is selfish. Y manager believes that you can trust the team, they will deliver, and all of that. You get. So this is how you go about developing your team. These are what you use. These are the techniques you are going to use. Negotiate on team building. Very important. Team building activity, please. Let your team building activity, let it not be work-related activity. And do something fun. Recognition and reward. Please. Do not always reward individual, but reward in group. Imagine you tell your team members, if we're able to finish our work before Thursday, on Friday, everybody be at home. You see, everybody will collaborate. But when you say the first person to finish their work, gets 10,000, you see some people will not be running and make mistakes. Somebody will want to even do eye service. You understand? Training is also another important thing. That's what you are doing. You are training yourself. Individual and team assessment, appraiser, meet your team members, ask them how you are doing in terms of some areas and all of that. When you do that, it's also part of team development, and this is going to be the output. When you have developed your team, you need to manage them. Manage them closely. The reason why you are managing them is that some people may be loafing around. Loafing here means, how many of us did classwork in school? There are people who will not even participate at all. That's loafing. You just have some people who are loafing around. They are not doing anything. So you need to manage them closely. The only way you manage, you'll be able to know who is loafing and who is not loafing, and all of that. So the tools and techniques you are going to use is conflict management, withdrawing and avoiding, smoothing and accommodation, compromising and reconciling, forcing and directing, collaborating and solving problems. Hey guys, team members on this project of project management, I have a problem. Or what do you think we need to do? When you hear a project manager speaks like that, what he's asking for is for collaboration. He wants us to solve the problem together. But when you hear a team manager say, or a project manager say, hey guys, we are resuming by 7 a.m. tomorrow, and that's it. That person is using forcing, that project manager is using forcing and direct. Smoothing and accommodating, withdrawing and avoiding is also another technique we need to pay attention. Then we'll talk about procurement, conduct procurement. Remember, we plan for procurement. We say all of our projects are not going to be done by us. All of the works in our projects is not going to be done by us. So what do we need to do? We need to conduct procurement. We have planned for it, so we need to conduct it now. We begin to seek in people who are actually going to do one or two in our project work. I will give them proposal. And one of the ways we can do it is through expert judgment. Then we also want to advertise, want to call for bidder conferences. Now, before you call for bidder conference, this is what it means. You first of all advertise. Maybe in your advertisement, you don't have a lot of money to advertise and all of that. So you just give little information, let the bidders, let them bid. Then when they come, you now call for, you now invite them for a meeting, and that meeting is called bidder conference. In that meeting, you now discuss in details what you want them to do for you, then they will now begin to bid. Then of course, you go ahead and carry out data analysis. You look at their proposal evaluation and see the one that meets with your budget, and also check those who have done some of this work before to see if they are actually qualified to work for you and all of that. So at the end of the day, this is what you are going to be having. You are going to be having your output. You are going to be having your selected sellers and all of that. You drop an agreement with them. Remember, you need to baseline everything. You scope baseline, you schedule baseline, you cost baseline, and all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, the next thing we want to do is for us to also manage communication. Yes, manage communication means making sure you generate the work performance information. Work performance information and organize information that tells everybody how things is going on the project. So you are going to document it. It can be daily, it can be weekly, it can be monthly, it can be quarterly, it can be annually report, as the case may be. It just depends on how the stakeholders want it. This makes up your communication. Managed communication means harvesting the information about your performance. You are putting in everything in a manner that is organized, that your stakeholders can be able to look at it and they will understand it. So it may be that you have a blog, you have a WhatsApp group, you have a Telegram where you actually publish this information. Now, don't forget, there are some people who you need to actually call. You need to call them and pass them that information. So in execution, you manage communication. What does this mean? It means that you need to generate information about how work is going on your project. You put the information in the format that various stakeholders can understand, and you also distribute those information to various stakeholders as the case may be. Some of them will require calling, and of course, you go ahead and call them. When it comes to the input, what are you going to use? These are what you are going to use. And of course, the tools and techniques you are going to use is the communication technology, like we rightly mentioned in the planning, and communication method, communication skill, common competence, feedback, non-verbal, and presentation. Please, feedback. Always ask for feedback. It helps you to know how you are doing in your project. Also, pay attention to the non-verbal communication of your stakeholders. It's very important because some of them feel they beef you, you don't know. The way they think they work out, the way they think they carry body, the way their face they show, now you will know. You understand? So, manage communication. These are the tools and techniques. Like I rightly mentioned, it is very, very important that you are a project manager who listens. Project manager where they listen. Project manager that listens. You understand? Project manager that listens. If you don't listen, there will be a problem. Your team members will run and leave you. Your team members will run and leave you. Salvation, you are not in class. So yes, salvation, you are not in class. Salvation, you are not in class. So we have been taking attendance. Or you are doing a self-led. You understand? So please, always speak with your team members. So if you don't communicate with your team members, they will run and leave you. I am saying it now. You understand? I am saying it now. Always communicate with your team member is very, very important. You implement risk responses. Implement risk responses. Remember, we have identified risk. We have defined risk. In fact, we don't even do risk assessment analysis. We do them today. You understand? So, implement risk responses. What are you going to do? Okay, true. The only person that I am in love with, the only person that my genotype matches is the first daughter of the family. I am also the first son of my family, meaning that there's a heavier load for us to get married. What is going to be your risk response? We want to cut down on some costs. We are not going to do white wedding. We are only going to do traditional wedding. We are not going to do traditional wedding. We are only going to do court wedding. In fact, our traditional wedding is just going to be in my father's parlor. We share garden egg, we share granules, and everybody will go home. You are doing what? You are responding to risk. It's your risk or it's not my own. I'm just saying. But it's not out of place if you do that. And when you have the money too, it's not so not out of place when you invite me to come to one very beautiful garden. And we sit. The terrain is beautiful. The atmosphere is giving. In fact, they give me vibes. Say maybe say make a fine wife, make a marry. It will be very nice. But you need to see the risk in your marriage and respond to it. You understand? So all of those risks that your risk experts guys have helped you to identify in your project. What do you need to do? You need to begin to respond to them. It's as simple. If you dey fry fish, what is the risk involved if you are frying fish? What is the risk involved if you are frying fish? What is the risk involved if you are frying fish? Use the chat box. What is the risk involved if you are frying fish? What is the risk involved? What is the risk involved if you are frying fish? When I use the chat box, make I see it. I want to see people that are cooking. What is the risk involved if you are frying fish? The oil can burn by mistake. Good. Splashes. Beautiful. So how do you respond to the risk? Let me ask you now. How do you respond to the risk? How do you respond? Yes, spill out oil, yes. So how do you respond? The fish can burn, okay, yes. So how do you respond to the risk? Turn down the heat if your fish is burning, okay. What else? Those of us that says the oil can spill, and it can splash by mistake. When you put the wet fish down inside, go do before you know it, they do ta 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 ta. What can you do? How can you respond to that? What to face say fish eye feel bust. So how do you respond? Now we're talking about responding. So how do you respond to the risk? How do you respond? How do you respond? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. How do you respond? We are behind time. Oh. How do you respond? How do you respond to the risk? How do you respond? Oh, say all of them know they cook. Now, wow. How do you respond to the risk? How do you respond to the risk? So will it be out of place if we carry a very big cover? As we put the fish, we just use the big cover, the biggest pot in our kitchen to use it as shield or as guide or to cover it. And that's also another response. You understand? You get. So if you have identified risk, why not go ahead and begin to think of how you can respond to it. Expert judgment. So it's also another tool you can use. So how do you want to stay far from it? So how do you want to respond to risk? You want to escalate? You want to avoid? You want to exploit? Are you going to enhance? Are you going to share? Are you going to accept? Whatever the strategy you want to use, that's the one you should use. And of course, you go ahead and respond to the risk. Another thing is for us to manage quality. We spoke about quality extensively in the beginning of our question. We already know what quality is. Quality should meet the specification, what it was intended for. So in our processes, we want to check quality. You understand? What's the difference between quality control and quality assurance? Quality control and quality assurance. What's the difference? What's the difference? Quality control and quality assurance. Quality control, quality assurance. Quality control is when you try to check for errors as work is ongoing. So you are checking for errors and you are correcting it as work is ongoing. Quality assurance is after I don't finish the work, you can go check to see that there are no errors, that the result actually meets the project specification. You understand? So that's what it means. Quality assurance and quality control. Please don't forget that. Quality assurance, quality control. Don't forget that.
Sir,
Very,
please,
very
sorry, sir. What
yes.
this quality assurance? What did you say it is again, please?
Yeah. So quality control is as work they go on for our project. We are checking it bit by bit to be sure that there are no errors. And when we discover errors, we correct it. Why quality assurance is after we have done with the work, we are now checking to be sure that the work we did meets the specification, meets the requirement. You understand? So quality control is bit by bit. Quality assurance is at the end of the day. That's what it is. Now, when doing quality control or checking to see where there are issues, what we call the Ishikawa diagram will come up. Cause and effect diagram, where you want to trace where errors are coming from. So errors could be coming from management. Yes. Somebody like Uzoma Immaculate could testify that she has had an experience where error is coming from management and all of that. Errors could also be coming from equipment. They will be checking this bottle water. What they make? What it make the thing they jam safe? What it make the bottle water not they cover well? Could be coming from equipment. I mean, are the people we want to trace. So when you are doing all of these things, what it means is that you are tracing back. The Ishikawa diagram is helping you to just trace back to see where errors are coming from. When you discover where errors are coming from, then you'll be able to manage quality. You understand? Very, very important. Then at the end of the day, this is what you are going to be having. You are having quality reports. You are going to be having change reports because, of course, you must be making some changes. Then the next thing you want to do is for you to manage stakeholders' engagement. Yes, that's the last one. That's the last execution process. Manage stakeholders' engagement. How do you manage stakeholders' engagement? How do you involve them in the whole processes? How do you not allow their concerns to become an issue? It is simple. You need to just work closely with your stakeholders so that you can be able to know where their concerns are on the project that you are managing. It is very, very important, like as I will always say it, and this happens throughout the life cycle of a project. A good project manager wants to put his ears on ground and listen to the stakeholders, listen to their non-verbal communication and their verbal communication. Once you are able to harvest all of the information that you need from the stakeholders, you need to also respond immediately. Please do not overlook any stakeholders' concern. It is very, very important. Don't neglect any stakeholders. When you do that, your project will be able to move smoothly when it comes to execution. Ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders engagement is all about trying to work closely with your stakeholders. And in doing that, what you need to do is for you to just communicate. Please, when you're executing, you need to set up ground rules. As a project manager, have ground rules for your team members. Have ground rules. It is very, very important. So that when they call, they don't report late to work. They report late to work, so amount is going to be deducted from their allowances. If anybody fights, so allowance will be deducted. So have ground rules. It helps you to know how to execute your project effectively and smoothly. And it helps all the team members to work in accord. And for you to be able to do this, you need a meeting. You guys need to be in a meeting so that you can have good discussion and all of that. Then finally, those are the 10 processes involved when it comes to execution of our projects. Please, there is one question I want to ask us. Among these 10 processes, which one process is involved in all of the processes we have been discussing, from initiation, develop project data, identify stakeholders, down to manage stakeholders engagement, plan stakeholders engagement, down to manage stakeholders engagement? Which one of these processes you can use in all of the processes? Which one of these processes can you use in all of the processes? Which one? Yes, that's the final question for today. That's the final question, and that's the final attendance for today. Which of the processes can you use in all of them? Which of the processes can you use in all of them? Which of the processes can you use in all of the processes we have been discussing so far? Which of the processes can you use in all of the processes we have been discussing so far? Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Which of the processes can we use? 2 people in attendance. Jock Theophilus, Mary Tunwafo. Look at the 10 processes again. Which one can we use? I mean, some of us don't sleep for this class. Okay. On the stakeholders engagement. Okay. How are you doing? Okay, Bika. Which one can we use? Gabriela, number 7. Gabriela, you are welcome back. Oh, you disappeared for a very long time. Immaculate says number 7. Right. All right, so I think I've gotten a good number of response, even if there are not many, and which are correct. Manage communication. Thank you very much for that. Manage communication is very, very easy one you can apply in all. Communication play a vital role. If you remember, when I came to communication, I was even emotional about it. You understand? Yes. Please always communicate. Very, very important. Always communicate. Communication plays a vital role. Because we are not many in this class, I will have shared a simple story, but maybe during the monitoring and controlling and closing of our projects on Saturday, I'll be able to share that story. Please do not miss that class, because that class has a whole lot of experiences and stories, and we are going to be enjoying ourselves on Saturday. So you understand. So it is very, very important. Even when you are driving at night, 7 a.m., 7 a.m. on Saturday, 7 a.m., yes. Even when you are driving at night, sometimes you will see, slow down, learn at work. That's communication. You understand? So thank you very much, guys, for your time. This is the end of our execution process. You understand? This is the end of it. Thank you very much. We have come to the end. Yes, we have come to the end of our project management execution. Yes, thank you very much. So far we were left with 13 processes, and we are going to be wrapping it up on Saturday, 7 a.m. in the morning. We are going to be wrapping up. So between 7 and 10, we should be able to wrap it up and all of that. Thank you very much, everyone. Please do have a wonderful night rest. I'm going to be uploading the video either tomorrow or maybe on Saturdays. Please, before you go, those of us from last year, your assessment is starting on all courses, beginning with project management, beginning with data analysis, beginning with digital marketing. Project management class will come to an end by Saturday. You understand? So after the project management class is concluded, you are going to be taking your assessment immediately. Remember that we are behind schedule for you. So it is very important. So if you have an outstanding payment from last year, this is the point where you now need to complete the payment. Now, when you complete the payment, you now gain access to take the assessment. Now, the assessment is now different from how you used to take the assessment before. You understand? So I'm going to be sharing the link. You are now going to register for the courses that are left. You register for the courses that are left, then you will pick the package. Don't worry about the money attached to the package. Just pick it. Then when you pick it, then you now go ahead and make your payment. That is your balance from last year. Whatever that is left, you just complete the payment. Once you complete the payment, you upload it on your dashboard, on the link we are going to send. You upload it on your dashboard. Then we're now going to reconcile with what you paid before and what your balance is. Then we'll be able to now accept you into the new portal, and you will take your assessment. Your assessment will last for just 2 to 3 days, so that you'll be able to get your certificate out, and we can begin your process. For those of us who are presently in Benue, we can begin your what's it called, the side certification, so that you can use it and add to what you are doing presently. You understand? So it is very, very important. Please prepare yourself. You can start also making your second installment payment for your training, because assessment will begin. Assessment is only happening for those who have made their second installment payment. That's the only way you can take assessment. Yes, you understand? That's the only way you can take assessment. So it's very, very important. So please take all of this information to heart, and I will see you guys on Saturday. Thank you so much for your time, and prepare for your assessment in the next few days. We are going to be publishing. I think we have already published for digital marketing. Is for the assessment to start. So the assessment for digital marketing starts on Saturday, and every of the information is going to be shared tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, and do have a wonderful night rest.